Dick Cheney will be voting for Kamala Harris.
That's not a deep fake. That was actually said today. Former Republican Congresswoman, staunch Trump critic Liz Cheney, making that news earlier today in Texas that her father, the very Republican, very conservative vice president, 2 terms, is going to vote for progressive Democrat Kamala Harris. I'm back with my panel. Joining us is former Trump White House Communications Director Alyssa Farah-Griffin, who is a Trump critic as well. Your reaction?
Listen, I'm not surprised. Liz Cheney is someone who put her career on the line to do what was right. She has been a vocal critic of the former president since January 6th, and she's endorsed Democrats before. She supported Abigail Spanberger, Alyssa Slotkin. I think this is noteworthy. We've talked a lot this election about the so-called Nikki Haley voters, this roughly 20%
That's like you.
of primary voters who turned out to vote against Trump in the primary and even kept voting after Nikki Haley was out of the race. Those voters are better understood as Liz Cheney voters. They're people who are reliable Republicans, probably with them in 2016, probably with them in 2020, but January 6th was a bridge too far. Not supporting Ukraine is a bridge too far. And that's enough voters to potentially sway the election.
What do you think?
Well, President Trump has the support of Nikki Haley. So if I'm working on the Trump campaign, she spoke at the RNC, I would deploy Nikki Haley into the 7 battleground states that actually matter to make sure that they're shoring up the vote. And we've seen her out there on the stump. So does a Liz Cheney and a Dick Cheney endorsement for Vice President Harris matter? I would argue probably not, because those Nikki Haley voters, the fresher, newer ones, are already going to probably be with Trump. She's with him too.
What do you think?
Well, the Dick Cheney endorsement is actually the one that seems to be shocking and a reminder of how far we have come from the grand old party of even the Bush administration. And to have someone like Cheney and Kamala Harris effectively on the same side is a better understanding of the risks to American democracy and national security. I mean, we have Trump's own former chief of staff, former defense secretary, former generals, all talking about how he is a risk to national security, and now to have Dick Cheney come and remind us of that is, I think, very compelling.
And that's a key.
You looked like you wanted to say something.
Look, I think that voters are really concerned about the economy. I think endorsements are fun. It's a good flavor of the day. We had RFK a couple of weeks ago. Nobody's talking about it anymore. The page is going to turn here pretty quickly, and I don't think that a Liz Cheney or a Vice President Cheney endorsement is going to change the trajectory of this race.
An endorsement, maybe not necessarily, but Alyssa, react to this, because it's not just a pledge to vote for Kamala Harris. Liz Cheney says she's going to hit the campaign trail. Take a listen.
I'm not a campaign surrogate. I'm not, officially, I'm not, technically out there as a surrogate, but absolutely going to be in many key battleground states, very much focused on how important it is that we defeat him in this cycle.
So if she goes to, let's say, Georgia, Arizona, and I don't know, Scranton, Pennsylvania, part of the Reagan Democrat parts of Michigan, I mean, she could create a permission structure for Republicans to vote for Harris, I guess.
Well, and it's not just, by the way, Republicans vote for Harris. It's undecided swing voters, moderates, independents, suburban women. Think of Georgia, which Biden won by only 11,000 votes. Having a former popular lieutenant governor like Jeff Duncan, a lifelong Republican who looks out of central casting, say it's okay to be with a Democrat this time because democracy's on the line, supporting our allies is on the line. Having a Liz Cheney, a name that is associated with being a Republican much longer than Donald Trump's name has been, out in Pennsylvania saying, hey, this is about turning the page on the past, on the chaos, on the drama. That could absolutely work in these tight margin states.
And it's specifically, and Alyssa, you were talking about this earlier, is to the down ballot tickets as well. It's not just a Harris play. This is about the different Senate candidates and making sure that that margin doesn't change or swings Democratic next cycle.
I think we need to pay attention to turnout to bring this full circle. President Trump had the incredible ability to turn people out to vote in 2016. 0-4 voters, as we call them. They don't regularly participate. And what do? They have to make up the margin here. So I think digging into some of those rural counties where people don't typically participate, that's the challenge, and that's what Trump has to do to offset this.
And let's talk about the debate now, because Alyssa, you spoke earlier with Democratic Governor Josh Shapiro on The View, and he said this.
Listen, as much as we want to criticize Donald Trump, he's a liar, he's all these things. I think you said it before. People know Donald Trump. He is a skilled debater. He is a guy who's willing to say anything at any time just to get through a question. And he's a showman. He's been on TV before. So don't underestimate Donald Trump.
So Donald Trump has been doing presidential debates since 2015. He did them in 2015, 2016, 2020, and now he's about to do his second one this year against a second opponent.
Folks shouldn't underestimate him. This is a man who came up in the world of television, mass communicating to audiences. There's a world in which you get the Hannibal Lecter shouting out the Proud Boys off the rails, Donald Trump, but I think it's far more likely you're going to get somebody who's trying to entertain, keep people's focus, and is going to hit on the few issues that he really succeeds on: border security and the economy. The worst thing the Harris campaign could do is underestimate him going into it, because he's proven he is capable of getting through these debates. I would argue he actually had a pretty successful second debate against Joe Biden last time. If that Donald Trump shows up, that's much tougher for Harris.
Yeah, and she just experience-wise does not have the experience when it comes to doing these debates that he does. Nayara Hawk, Ashley Rich Stevenson, Alyssa Farah Griffin, thanks one and all for being here.